Welcome to Storied Audio. Evelyn Harrington had grown up in a world where chandeliers were older than most people's family trees and where the word no was rarely spoken aloud. Her family's estate, an ivy-covered mansion perched on a hill outside the city, had been in the Harrington name for 5 generations. After her divorce, the house felt too big, too quiet, too heavy with memories she didn't want anymore. Her one joy was her 8-year-old daughter, Kaitlyn, bright, curious, and far more grounded than anyone raised in old money had any right to be. The staff kept the house running smoothly: a housekeeper, a chef, 2 groundskeepers, and a rotating list of assistants. But after the divorce, Evelyn realized she needed something else, someone else. A driver. Someone reliable. Someone who could also keep Kaitlyn safe. That's how Easton Hale entered their lives. He came from a private security company, tall and steady-voiced, with a calm presence that made people instinctively trust him. Evelyn hired him because he was qualified. She kept him because he was dependable. She barely noticed his handsome features or the way he always opened the car door with a small, respectful nod. To her, he was simply the driver. To Kaitlyn, he became everything. Within a week, she was chattering nonstop in the back seat, telling him about school, her friends, her drawings, her dreams. Easton listened, really listened, like every word mattered. He learned her favorite snacks, her favorite songs, the way she liked her seatbelt slightly looser because it felt like a hug instead of a trap. At school, Kaitlyn bragged about him. "He's my best friend," she told her classmates proudly. "He plays games with me, and he's super strong." Evelyn didn't know how true that was until one warm Saturday afternoon. She was walking past the upstairs window when she caught sight of something strange in the backyard. Easton crouched behind a rosebush, holding a neon blue water gun like it was a tactical weapon. She blinked, confused, until she saw Kaitlyn creeping toward him with her own water gun, tiptoeing dramatically. Evelyn pressed a hand to her mouth to keep from laughing. Easton pretended not to see Kaitlyn, even though she was giggling so hard she could barely walk. When she finally sprayed him, he let out a dramatic yell and fell backward into the grass. Kaitlyn collapsed beside him, laughing until she couldn't breathe. Evelyn felt something shift inside her. He wasn't on the clock. He wasn't being paid. He was simply choosing to spend his free time making her daughter happy. For the first time in months, Evelyn smiled without forcing it. A conversation that changed everything. A few days later, she asked Easton if they could talk. He looked startled. Drivers were usually spoken to only when instructions were needed, but he nodded. They met in the sunroom, where the afternoon light made everything glow gold. "I just wanted to thank you," Evelyn said softly, "for being so kind to Kaitlyn.
And to me.
You've made things easier." Easton shook his head. "You don't have to thank me. I enjoy spending time with her. She's a great kid. And he hesitated. You're good people." No one had said that to her in a long time. She took a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?" "Not as staff. As Easton." His smile was slow, warm, and unexpectedly breathtaking. "I'd like that very much." That evening, something changed. They talked like old friends. He made her laugh. He looked at her like she was more than a wealthy divorcee with a mansion and a broken heart. And when he walked her to her bedroom door and kissed her, gentle, careful, reverent, she melted into him like she'd been waiting for that moment without knowing it. They began dating quietly.
Carefully.
But with a depth that surprised them both. Easton treated her like she was precious, not because of her money, but because she was Evelyn. And Kaitlyn adored him even more. For the first time since the divorce, the house felt alive again. The day everything almost fell apart. 3 weeks later, Evelyn's phone rang while she was reviewing paperwork in her study. It was Kaitlyn's school. "Mrs. Harrington," the receptionist said, voice tight, "your ex-husband arrived to pick up Kaitlyn. He's not on the approved list, so we refused." He became agitated and tried to enter the building. Evelyn's blood ran cold. "He what?" He caused a scene. "But your driver, Mr. Hale," intervened. He restrained him until the police arrived. Evelyn didn't remember grabbing her keys. She didn't remember the drive. She only remembered the fear clawing at her chest. Her ex-husband had been drinking more and more since the divorce. He was unpredictable, reckless, and he had always believed Kaitlyn belonged with him. When she arrived at the school, she saw police cars flashing lights, and then she saw Kaitlyn, standing on the sidewalk, holding Easton's hand. Her daughter ran to her, burying her face in Evelyn's stomach. "Mommy, he tried to take me," she whispered, but Easton stopped him. Evelyn looked at Easton. His shirt was rumpled, his knuckles scraped, but his expression was steady, protective, fierce in a way she had never seen before. "He wasn't taking her anywhere," Easton said quietly. "Not while I'm here." Emotion hit her so hard, she had to blink it away. He wasn't just a driver. He wasn't just a boyfriend. He was the man who would protect her daughter with his life. Becoming a family. That night, after Kaitlyn was asleep, Evelyn found Easton sitting on the back patio, staring out at the dark lawn. She sat beside him. "Thank you," she whispered, "for saving her, for being there." He shook his head. "I'd do it again. Every time." She took his hand. "I know." He looked at her then, really looked, and she saw everything in his eyes. Devotion, fear, relief, love. "I care about you," he said. "Both of you. More than I expected to." She leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. "We care about you too." The mansion no longer felt too big. The silence no longer felt heavy. The future no longer felt uncertain. They weren't just a wealthy woman, her daughter, and a hired driver. They were becoming something real, something strong, something like a family. And Evelyn knew, with absolute certainty, that her life had changed the moment she saw him hiding behind that rosebush with a water gun. Subscribe to the channel for more audio stories.